No one is going to protect you, son of Odin. No man in a high tower. No chieftain. No brothers shoulder to shoulder with you. They may. There may be brothers like that willing to do that, but they are few and far between. I encourage the Anglo-Saxon, the Celt, the European, every single one of you who live in nations where you cannot have weapons, guns, to carry steel, sharp steel, very sharp steel, and never, ever let anyone touch you or your family or bring harm to your family again. Be prepared for violence. If you had guns in your nation, the issues that are there today would not exist. So long as you have the stones to do what you have to do to protect your family. But most men today don't have stones like that. I have something of a controversial, perhaps silly belief. You know how much I'm into genetics and history and phenotypes and things like that. We know that genetics play an enormous role in various things in human populations. For example, I've talked with you about how 60 to 70% of the world is lactose intolerant. And the people with the most lactose persistence in their DNA, people that can digest milk as adults, most of those people are Northern European. 90% of people that have lactase persistence are Northern European. There's a pocket of tribes in Saudi Arabia that can digest milk. They drank camel milk. And there is another very small tribe somewhere in Kenya that I believe can digest milk. But the people who can digest milk the most are Northern Europeans. That's because of genetics that we've inherited from some of our steppe pastoralist ancestors called the Yamnaya. So, and carbs are pretty bad for us, depending on the carb and how much carbs we eat. But, so that being said, obviously, genetics, race, phenotype, all that shit exists. When stupid people say shit like race doesn't exist, yada yada, shut the fuck up. A grizzly bear is not a polar bear. So we've established that genetics play an enormous role in what a person is going to be like, what's good for their body, what isn't. And I have a theory that, well, it isn't a theory, it's just fact. I mean, genetics also will determine the testosterone of a man, the femininity of a woman, depending on their background in a lot of cases. But there are men within races all over the world that have extremely high testosterone, and there are men also among those races who have extremely low testosterone. So testosterone levels, for the most part, the race doesn't necessarily matter. It kind of can, but for most races it doesn't really matter. I definitely think that diet plays a role in it as well. The diet of your ancestors will play an enormous role in that, your recent ancestors. But so, let's that being said, in the Western world, the Northern European man is not eating what he is supposed to be eating. In fact, he is eating food that is a pure toxicity to him, poison to him, shit that lowers testosterone. But here's what I believe. I believe that every man on the planet is born with a well of testosterone. Think of it as a well of testosterone. Some men are born with wells of testosterone that are overflowing with testosterone. When they reach that peak age of maturity, despite the food, the propaganda, the brain worms, the woke shit that turns so many men into pathetic wretches, there are men amongst us who look at that shit and say, that's shit and trash and filth and garbage. They are unaffected by this assault on their masculinity. They're steadfast and unwavering in the face of it. Nothing affects them. They've had chemicals pumped into them by this shit, trash, toxic food. They've had everybody telling them you're wrong for loving what you are, masculine-wise, race-wise, everything. And they just stand their ground and say, fuck you. I don't give a fuck what you think. I love what I am. And that's because these rare gems in society were born with that big well of testosterone within them. And then you have men who were born with something of a more smaller reserve. It doesn't make them lesser, because they can do things to increase their testosterone level, not supplement-wise, but thinking-wise, acting-wise, action-wise. You can do things to bring that strength back to you, in all facets. Even if you were born with something of a smaller well, you can do it. You can. You can adapt and change and become whatever you want to become with enough dedication. Even if your reserve that you were born with was small. But for the men who have that small reserve, this society in particular targets them. And it seems that they perhaps outnumber the men with the high reserves, the overflowing wells who are unaffected. It seems that way. Because I observe when I'm out and about. I'm not a particularly massive guy or anything. I haven't been going to the gym for a while. I'll start going back because I need more strength, but you can see in the younger generation changes in men. You absolutely can see it in mannerisms, in appearance. Many of them have something of a herd mentality. That stupid ass fucking broccoli haircut, it makes me sick to my stomach. You can't even. They're their own thing. I sound like a boomer when I'm talking like this, but like when I was younger, there were cliques. Now there's like one clique. It's like this big weirdo clique of peppy girly boys with their broccoli haircuts and their short shorts and their shit music taste. And I really do sound like a fucking boomer. But I mean, when I was young, we had fucking death metal heads. We had the goths, the nerds, the jocks. They had all that shit. The weirdos. I was a metalhead weirdo. And an outcast. Sorta. It's because I chose to be, too. It's not because there was something wrong with me. I mean, there's plenty of people that thought there was something wrong with me, but the people who thought there was something wrong with me, I thought there was something wrong with them. Because I was just there having fun and being myself. And I liked myself, and I didn't really judge people. But people judged me, and I don't give a fuck. Went to this new school one time, and everybody was like, "Oh, wow, who are you? Oh, you're so cool, blah, blah, blah." You know, like fucking brown-nosing me and shit. Wanting me in the popular kids club or whatever the fuck. And I went and hung out with the nerdy Yu-Gi-Oh card players at the table in the cafeteria, and then nobody ever talked to me again in that clique. You know, as soon as I hung out with those people that I knew were unjudgmental and were just having fun with their cards and were dorky and were the rejects and all that, as soon as I went to go hang out with them at this new school I went to, they were like, "Oh, fuck this guy," and started judging me or whatever. I don't know. And I was right about them. Those were not people I wanted to be around. It's funny how that works out. Anyway, I don't even know why I felt the need to add that into the story. I just thought it was funny. But anyway, so the objective is the absolute decimation of strength in all forms in men. That is the objective. It and to feminize, make the whole feminism thing with women certainly more prominent. The objective is to destroy sacred roles, and you know, that's the thing that feminists think. They think when men take positions of leadership in the household, that we're turning our wives, the most important people on this planet, who real men would willingly, gladly sacrifice their flesh, blood, life, and soul for, their family, their wives, their loved ones. They think that all men would make their wives slaves, when that is that is so far from the truth. A true man, a true masculine man protects, shields, comforts, sacrifices for his wife, his family, his people, his God. That is a true man. A man that beats women, enslaves women, that isn't a man. That's an insecure, pathetic, foul little worm. It has nothing to do with being a man. That is a man that's using his strength for wickedness, for his own self-gain. That isn't a man. That's less than a man. The objective is to destroy the man. And it starts with this lie of feminism. It serves the people who own us well. Because if you destroy masculinity, you also destroy the ethnicity and the races of people who have stood up against your tyranny are men. We of the ancient Indo-European tribes and the ancient tribes of Europe, the Caucasus, the steppes of Russia, Anatolia, Hyperborea. A real, if you look at a woman who lives in accordance with nature and a man that lives in accordance with nature, their nature, which therefore is nature, you won't see people happier. My friend in my last video, Celtic Idiots, Part 2, sorry, I'm still editing Part 1, he brought to light to me how much PewDiePie and his Italian wife and his family is hated. Do you know why they're hated? Because they're happy. Because they're living in accordance with nature. A woman that embraces her femininity, a man who embraces his masculinity, these are the happiest people on the planet. Children should obey and honor their father and mother. The mother needs to nurture, teach, love, and support. The father needs to lead, protect, strengthen, and inspire. And then above all of that is Odin, Teshub, Zeus, Deus, Ahura Mazda, whatever you want to call him, the All-Father. Above all of that, that is the structure of the pagan household. That is living in accordance with nature. That is the way to do it. 100%. I love my wife more than anything, anyone. I'm very, 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 very honored and blessed and thankful and lucky to have a woman like her. My wife is very strong. She's very intelligent. She is one of the rare gems on this planet that recognizes that importance of our nature. And we're both very happy. I am seeing something extremely troubling today, where there is a multitude of young men in the younger generation that were perhaps born with that low well, be it because their fathers or mothers or whoever, their genes were fucked up and those fucked up genes were passed on to them, or they just fell into the trap or something. But listen to me. If you think that for some reason you're unlucky and you're finding you can't find that woman, that ideal woman that you yearn for, because you think you're repulsive or something like that, or whatever. That's fucking pathetic. That is not the way to think. You need to stop looking. And I know people have told you this before, probably. But you need to stop looking for someone and start looking for yourself. If you're not satisfied with the kind of man that you see in the mirror, then you need to ask yourself what needs to be done. What do I need to do? Well, for starters, strengthen yourself. Set up a goal. Don't like money? Neither do I. But I have to get a certain amount of money to achieve the things that I want to achieve in my life. Me and my wife are going to be working together for those goals that we have established together as a team. Get goals. Find goals. And they don't have to be complicated goals either. You don't have to say to yourself, I want to be an astronaut or whatever. You could start with just the foundation. If you can't find a goal right now, if you don't know what goals they are, be it to go and find yourself traveling somewhere as a nomad like I did, start with the basics. Find a way to accumulate money. Can't save money? If you have a job, you can save money. Even if it's $10 out of every paycheck, which sounds awful. But find a way to spend money on the things that you need to spend on and save money. And while you're taking time figuring out what that goal is, whilst at the same time strengthening yourself at the gym, picking up new hobbies, learning new things, you're stacking paper. And eventually, before you know it, you'll be able to buy things that are your own. Not every woman wants a man with a mansion. Not every woman wants a man with a... What the fuck are they called? Whatever cars Andrew Tate fucking likes. I never liked him, ever. Never trusted him. Never thought that he was masculine. And what a surprise. He's a pedophile. Shocker. That isn't a man. That isn't a man. That's a little boy in a man's body who wishes he was a man. He's a materialist. If the world ended tomorrow and money became what it was, just paper, real men would eat him. He would flock to men that know how to who know how to start fires, who know how to build shelter, who know about agriculture and fishing and hunting. He would flock to men like that because the only thing he has is money. He doesn't do anything that a real man does. He couldn't hunt a boar with a spear. He couldn't hunt a bear with a spear. I haven't done that yet. The other things. Yeah, I'll show you my spear one of these days. Anyway. That's not a real man. That's not a real role model. The world is against you. The leaders are against you. European man, son of Odin, Hyperborean, Mediterranean. The leaders of the world are against you, and they want to cut out your masculinity. and they're using the people that they've destroyed as a tool to destroy you, then they'll destroy them. Because when you've mixed everyone, and you've killed culture, and you've destroyed ethnic identity, and you've destroyed that beautiful, beautiful structural system in a healthy household and clan that live in accordance with nature, you win. You win. You have nothing but a bunch of subservient people, serfs without identities, hedonistic, comfort-seeking simpletons who need your leadership. You, chosen of God. The people that want to destroy your ethnicity are doing everything in their power to preserve theirs, whatever it may be. Your sharpest sword to defending all that you hold dear in this world is your femininity and your masculinity and your actual swords. My European brothers and sisters, especially my Germanic, Anglo-Saxon brothers and sisters, get a sax and don't let anybody fuck with you. Hello there.